The movie opens with a motel scene, introducing us to Alice, a 30-year-old woman. She receives a phone call from her husband, Eric, and quickly retreats into the bathroom. The time on the clock reads 2 a.m., and Eric greets her warmly, reminding her about their upcoming visit to a fertility specialist. We discover that Alice is employed as a social media manager at a pharmaceutical company, and is currently returning home after a significant convention. Little does Eric know, his wife Alice is having an affair with her co-worker and close friend John. In the subsequent scene, they check out of the motel and continue their journey. Along the way, it becomes evident that Alice and Eric are struggling to conceive a child, yet Eric remains supportive and caring. However, John notices that the fuel gauge is nearing empty, which perplexes him as he distinctly recalls refueling the car just the day before. Despite the confusion, they pull over at a nearby gas station to address the issue. As John attends to refueling, Alice steps into the store to grab a cup of coffee. Simultaneously, it becomes evident that the car is leaking fuel, explaining the rapid depletion of gas. In the vicinity of the gas station, there's a prominent billboard displaying the message, "God is nowhere." Inside the store, Alice goes to the counter to settle her payment, but there's no one in sight, so she leaves the money on the counter. In that very moment, a gruesome sight catches her eye. Blood splatters on the walls. Just as she reaches for the exit, an unknown assailant shoots her in the arm. Following the initial gunshot, a hail of bullets is unleashed in her direction. Miraculously, Alice manages to crawl to safety, yet her pleas for help go unanswered. As it turns out, John is engrossed in blaring music inside his car, completely oblivious to the unfolding chaos. After fashioning a makeshift tourniquet around her injured arm, Alice cautiously peeks outside. Suddenly, a bullet narrowly misses her, leading her to the chilling realization that the sniper is perched on the very same billboard. In this dire predicament, Alice finds herself trapped by an unknown assailant, and her sole confidant remains outside, completely unaware of the danger. Alice then makes the daring decision to reach for her phone, situated just a few meters away. But just as she's about to grasp it, the sniper obliterates it with a single shot. With time ticking away, Alice realizes she must explore other avenues for her survival. She studies the CCTV footage and spots an exit door. Then, out of nowhere, she hears a voice emanating from somewhere in the vicinity. Scanning her surroundings, she spots a walkie-talkie on a nearby desk. Reaching the desk remains perilous, given its vulnerability to the sniper's aim. So, Alice devises a cautious strategy. She tosses a few chip packets into the air, and as the sniper fires at them, she seizes the opportunity to retrieve the walkie-talkie. Alice urges the person on the other end to call the police, while the voice on the walkie-talkie inquires about his wife, Amelia. In the meantime, John becomes aware of the dwindling fuel, and after some investigation, he realizes that his gas tank is leaking. Concerned about Alice's prolonged absence, he ventures into the store to check on her. Tragically, as soon as he lays eyes on her, a sniper's bullet strikes him in the neck. John collapses to the floor, desperately imploring Alice for assistance, but the sniper delivers another fatal shot, ending his life. Following this nightmarish incident, Alice endeavors to recover the walkie-talkie, which had been thrown into the open area using a mop stick. She discloses her name and the dire situation inside the mini-market to the voice on the other end. When the man inquires once more about his wife Amelia, Alice informs him that she doesn't see anyone else in the room. Upon hearing this, the man promptly contacts the police for help, assuring Alice that assistance will arrive within 15 minutes. In the very next moment, the man erupts into a maniacal laughter, confessing that he was the one who fatally shot John. To make matters even more chilling, he threatens that if Alice refuses to engage with him, he will descend to her location. Scanning the room, Alice spots a series of light switches and contemplates that plunging the store into darkness might increase her chances of escape. Alice seizes some objects and hurls them towards the switchboard, but her attempts prove futile. However, she notices that the shelf behind which she's hiding has wheels. Alice cautiously moves the shelf, narrowly evading the hail of bullets directed at her. She successfully takes a leap and switches off the store's lights. Shortly after, Alice tries to reach out to someone else on the radio, but the call repeatedly connects to the sniper. The sniper divulges that there are no other individuals present besides himself, Alice, and his wife Amelia. Here, Alice finally unravels that Amelia is deceased, and the killer confesses to murdering his wife because of her infidelity. This revelation terrifies Alice further, as she too has been unfaithful to her husband. She speculates that perhaps this is the reason the sniper is targeting her, or maybe it's just a cruel twist of fate. After some time, Alice spots a vehicle pulling into the gas station, and a man named Doug disembarks from the car. He enters the store in search of his girlfriend, Amelia. Upon spotting Doug, Alice urgently motions for him to take cover, warning of a lethal sniper in close proximity. She pieces together that he's the same man Amelia had been involved with romantically. Alice implores Doug to contact the police, but to her dismay, Doug reveals that he left his phone in his car. Alice discloses the grim fate that has befallen Doug's girlfriend at the hands of her husband. Shocked, Doug vehemently denies it, stating that Amelia was never married. As he approaches the store's counter, Alice realizes that the sniper has fallen eerily silent ever since Doug's arrival, with no shots fired. This arouses her suspicion that Doug might actually be the assailant, but Doug vehemently maintains his innocence. Doug explains that both he and Amelia work night shifts, and he merely came to the store to visit his girlfriend. The situation leaves Alice perplexed, torn between whom to believe. Her skepticism persists, and Doug suggests that she speak with the alleged killer directly. With time slipping away and the sniper's silence weighing on her, Alice implores Doug to retrieve his phone from his car, as it could serve as proof that he is not the sniper. She assures him that she'll do her best to distract the sniper in the meantime. Doug is understandably apprehensive about the perilous idea, but Alice's persistent pleas eventually sway him to agree. Regrettably, as soon as Doug reaches his car and reaches for his phone on the holder, he is fatally shot and killed. His phone is also destroyed in the process. This tragic turn of events affirms that he was indeed telling the truth all along. He was not the sniper. Alice is left devastated, having unwittingly sent Doug to his death, and her hopes of escaping further diminish. The true sniper reasserts control of the radio, condemning Alice as a murderer for sending Doug on a mission she knew was doomed. He demands the truth, and discloses that he was aware of Alice's presence at the convention. He expresses his disgust at her role in creating drugs that impact countless lives. Alice defends herself, stating that she merely works as a social media manager for her pharmaceutical company. The sniper, however, contends that her actions are even more reprehensible. He accuses her of distributing medications under false pretenses, claiming they are beneficial when they are not. Furthermore, he possesses knowledge of Alice's company name, and asserts that she has ascended the corporate ladder through betrayal and deceit. According to the sniper, Alice falsely accused a man of sexual assault in order to advance her career, which resulted in the man's termination, leaving him penniless and unable to care for his ailing daughter. While the sniper continues his diatribe over the radio, possibly about himself, Alice notices a collection of umbrellas next to the counter and formulates a plan involving them. She questions the authenticity of the sniper's claim to be Amelia's husband, especially since Doug adamantly refuted it. Alice suspects that the sniper might have been bluffing, shooting Amelia solely to construct a vengeful narrative in order to target her. It remains unclear whether the attack on Alice was premeditated or simply a random incident in which she found herself in the wrong place at the wrong time. As the sniper continues his monologue, Alice arranges some umbrellas. However, as soon as he discerns her intentions, he opens fire on the gas station with multiple shots. Fortunately, Alice somehow reaches the exit door, but it appears to be locked at the moment. Alice decides to search for items that might help her break the padlock on the exit door, but her attempts to force it open prove futile. Shortly thereafter, she observes a random individual arriving at the gas station to refuel. However, when the man's credit card fails to work, he soon departs. The sniper refrains from targeting this man, suggesting that he only eliminates those who become aware of his plans. Alice, overwhelmed with emotion, attempts to plead with the sniper to spare her. She discloses the strain her inability to conceive has placed on her marriage. However, to her astonishment, The sniper is already aware of her extramarital affair and condemns her as an irresponsible woman, asserting that the world would be better off without her. In that moment, she spots a police car speeding toward the gas station, but regrettably, it passes by without stopping. Alice uses the momentary diversion to exit the store and cautiously approach John's car, all while the sniper keeps inquiring about her location. Yet, as she attempts to enter John's car, the sniper fires at her, leaving Alice with no choice but to retreat back to the store. In the process, she sustains another gunshot wound, this time to her thigh. Despite the agony and her gradually fading consciousness, Alice manages to administer first aid to her wound, temporarily stemming the bleeding. All the while, the sniper continues his relentless diatribe about the flaws of humanity. Alice notices a uniform bearing the name Henry, who seems to have been terminated from his job a few weeks prior, yet his belongings remain, including a picture of him with his daughter. With determination, Alice seizes a hacksaw and endeavors to cut open the padlock. However, during the process, she accidentally injures her own hand. Frustrated and in pain, she seizes the radio and defiantly proclaims that it will take more than killing her to resolve the sniper's problems. She refers to him as Henry and expresses sympathy for his life. But, after a brief silence, the sniper cryptically responds, "Who's Henry?" Moments later, another car arrives at the station. An elderly man steps out to refuel his vehicle, but his discovery of Doug's lifeless body startles him. This abrupt reaction alerts the sniper, and he promptly shoots the man. To compound the horror, the elderly man's wife emerges from the car, and Alice desperately tries to signal her to hide, but it's too late. The sniper ruthlessly shoots the elderly couple, leaving them to die in front of each other. This cruel act results in the tragic murder of an innocent couple. The murderer then claims that they share the same evil gene, which Alice will supposedly pass on to her unborn child. Alice vehemently denies any resemblance, stating that she has chosen not to have children to prevent them from suffering the same fate of depression, cowardice, and the darkness that drives the sniper to kill innocent people. At that moment, Alice notices a young girl named Cindy inside the car. Having witnessed her grandparents' brutal murders, Cindy is too terrified to flee. Alice initiates a dialogue with the killer, pleading for him to spare the child. In response, he remarks that if he wanted to kill her, he would have done so already. The sniper then poses a challenging question to Alice: would she sacrifice her life for Cindy? Without hesitation, Alice firmly responds with a yes. The sniper grants her 2 minutes to convince the child to leave. Alice implores Cindy to run to safety, but despite her best efforts, she fails to persuade the frightened girl to leave. Instead of running to safety, the frightened little girl dashes inside the store, too terrified to venture out into the darkness. Left with no other alternatives, Alice blocks the door and commences the task of cutting through the padlock securing the exit gate. Meanwhile, the killer finally descends from the billboard and begins making his way toward the store, intent on completing his deadly mission. After some time, Alice successfully cuts open the padlock, only to discover another shutter behind it, securely locked. With no escape route available, she prepares to confront the assailant head-on. She hides Cindy, gathers any available weapons, and braces herself for a harrowing battle. Eventually, the sniper reaches the store and enters, beginning to search the premises. He questions Alice, pondering whether he was sent by her betrayed husband, a wronged co-worker terminated without proper cause so she could steal his job, or a grieving father who lost his daughter due to complications from drugs manufactured by her company. As he nears a corner, Alice abruptly ambushes him from behind, impaling a rod in his back. The battle with the sniper is far from over. He strikes Alice, and they engage in a fierce struggle as she attempts to unmask him. In the midst of this confrontation, Cindy watches from a corner. A gunshot suddenly rings out, and Alice collapses to the ground, appearing lifeless. The killer now approaches Cindy's hiding place, attempting to remove his mask to reveal his face. Just then, Alice resurfaces unexpectedly, and using the last of her strength, strikes him with a fire extinguisher. The sniper attempts to rise, but she delivers another blow, rendering him immobilized. She drags him to a hydraulic press, all the while trying to uncover his identity. However, before she can unveil his face, The machine gruesomely crushes his skull, ultimately concluding the entire ordeal. Unfortunately, Alice will never discover the identity of the killer, and his motives remain an enigma, the most significant mystery in the movie. Alice exhausts her remaining energy, lies on the ground, and breathes her last. A few moments later, she passes away, with Cindy as the sole witness to the dreadful events. In the final scene, the young girl exits the store and begins walking down the road. The morning sun has risen, and she is the fortunate sole survivor of the gruesome incident.